500 pages. Every single day? That's Warren Buffett's secret weapon. Not stock tips, not market timing, just books. And this one habit turned a boy from Omaha into the greatest investor who ever lived. Here's exactly how knowledge compounds into billions. Warren Buffett once said something that changed how I think about success forever. He told a room full of students that he reads about 500 pages every single day. Then he held up a stack of papers and said, quote, "That's how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest." End quote. Now here's what most people miss about this statement. Buffett wasn't bragging. He was revealing the actual mechanism behind his fortune. While everyone else hunts for hot stock tips, Buffett has spent 70 years stacking knowledge like bricks. Each fact, each insight, each annual report builds upon the last. And just like compound interest in a savings account, the gains accelerate over time. But here's the question that kept me up at night. What exactly is he reading? And more importantly, why does reading create wealth while most people just consume information that goes nowhere? The answer will fundamentally change how you spend your next hour. Let's start with the origin story that nobody talks about. In 1949, a 19-year-old Warren Buffett picked up a book that would alter the course of financial history. The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Buffett read it cover to cover. Then he read it again and again. He later called it, quote, "the best book about investing ever written." End quote. But here's what's fascinating. Buffett didn't just read Graham's theories. He traveled to Columbia Business School specifically to study under Graham himself. He became a sponge. Every lecture, every conversation, every margin note in Graham's books became fuel for Buffett's growing mental library. And this is where most people get the reading habit completely wrong. They read for entertainment or to check a box. If this insight already has you thinking differently about your bookshelf, drop a like so I know to keep going with the deeper stuff. Buffett reads for ammunition. Each book is a weapon in his investment arsenal. But here's where it gets fascinating. Let's put Buffett's reading habit into actual numbers. 500 pages per day, 7 days a week. That's 3,500 pages weekly, 182,000 pages yearly. Over 70 years of his career. That's roughly 12.7 million pages. Now imagine you're competing against someone with 12 million pages of knowledge advantage. Every company analysis, every economic theory, every historical crisis studied in detail. This is what Buffett means by compound knowledge. Year 1, you're reading foundational texts. Year 10, you're connecting patterns across industries. Year 30, you're seeing things nobody else can see because you have mental models most people never develop. And this brings us to the man who amplified Buffett's reading system tenfold, Charlie Munger. What Munger taught Buffett about reading from multiple disciplines changed everything. And it's something you can start applying today. Charlie Munger introduced Buffett to a concept that separates amateur readers from knowledge masters. It's called the latticework of mental models. Here's how Munger explains it. You can't just have the ideas from one field. You need the big ideas from all the major disciplines. Psychology, economics, physics, biology, history. Each field offers thinking tools that illuminate problems in completely unexpected ways. Munger himself reads constantly across dozens of subjects. His children call him a book with legs. And this is the secret sauce that took Buffett from a good investor to the greatest investor. When Buffett analyzes a company, he's not just using financial metrics. He's applying psychological principles about human behavior. He's considering biological concepts like ecosystems and modes. He's drawing on historical patterns of empires rising and falling. This multidisciplinary approach is what creates genuine competitive advantage. But there's a specific technique both men use that makes their reading incredibly efficient. But that's not even the most surprising part of Buffett's reading system. What I'm about to share changes everything you thought you knew about reading for success. Buffett doesn't read to finish books. He reads to think. Here's what that means. Most people treat reading as consumption. They race through pages, check the book off their list, and move on. Buffett treats reading as conversation. He argues with authors in the margins. He sits with difficult concepts for hours, sometimes days. He rereads passages that challenge his existing beliefs until he either incorporates them or articulates exactly why he disagrees. This is called deliberate reading. And it's the difference between information passing through your brain and information transforming your brain. Buffett has said he can spend an entire morning on just 10 pages of a dense annual report, because those 10 pages, deeply understood, are worth more than 100 pages skimmed. If you want to see exactly how this transforms into investment decisions, make sure you're subscribed because we're getting to the breakthrough. Now let's talk about the specific books that built Buffett's fortune. Beyond The Intelligent Investor, there are 5 texts that Buffett returns to repeatedly. First, Security Analysis by Benjamin Graham. This 900-page tome is Buffett's Bible for valuing companies. Second, The Essays of Warren Buffett, which is actually a collection of his own shareholder letters organized by theme. Yes, he rereads his own writing to maintain consistency of thought. Third, Poor Charlie's Almanac, which contains Munger's speeches on mental models. Fourth, Business Adventures by John Brooks. Buffett called this the best business book he's ever read and gifted it to Bill Gates. Fifth, The Outsiders by William Thorndike, profiling 8 unconventional CEOs who massively outperformed the market. Notice the pattern? These aren't motivational books. They're dense, practical, analytically rigorous texts. And there's one more source that Buffett prioritizes above all others. That source, annual reports. Buffett reads hundreds of annual reports every year. Not just companies he owns, companies he might never buy, competitors, adjacent industries, failed businesses. Why? Because annual reports are treasure maps written by the people who actually run companies. Buffett has said, quote, I read annual reports of the company I'm looking at, and I read the annual reports of the competitors. That's the main source of material. End quote. He's been doing this since he was 11 years old. By his own estimate, he's read over 50,000 annual reports in his lifetime. 50,000. Each one teaches him something about business models, management quality, competitive dynamics, and financial engineering. This is the compound effect in its purest form. While other investors chase tips and trends,